would say the catalyst of establishing the Maori society is the Vaka. The procedure from the respect shown to the tree and to nature before cutting the trees. Because apart from Christianity calling us as heathens, savages, our people already know that there's mana out there. And they respect the tree as if it's a brother to them. And so they normally say a karake, which is a form of prayer, to ask for forgiveness for taking the life of a tree. But telling the tree that it will be turned into something else that will help feed the family and therefore have a new life in the form of a waka.
Maybe once in a generation kind of thing, canoes get built, yeah? And there is a lot of knowledge that is sitting there with lots of different people, but if we don't use it, we lose it. And so the purpose of this project was to be able to come, and it was to be able to make canoes, and not just make canoes, but to make them from scratch, to do all the ka'a, to do all of the weaving, to do all of the adzing, to do the whole process. And we did that. Whew, it was big. Yeah, and I think we all learnt during that time about actually how much work goes into it all. Yeah, and it's not a quick process. It's not something that you just kind of go, right, I'm going to do this, I'm going to carve a canoe. It actually takes a lot of time, a lot of steps, a lot of different things.
Sometimes we hear Papa Mike say, it's a dying art. It's like, you got to, you got to, because when to me, when I think of our tupunas, there's no machine back in those days. This is, whatever manpower, there's no chainsaws. If these tools were back in their days, hey, it would have been useful, but they did the impossible and made us think. Mama always say, you fellas continue, you fellas learn from him, but keep continuing, keep learning. So, it doesn't matter how old you are, you're still learning. Yeah. So there's different other methods. They ask us, how would you, hollow the rock out without the steel? I said, use the toki. I said, the rock toki. I said, sometimes back in the days they used the shell. They made it happen, without the power tools.
It's amazing. If you build a canoe, a Vaka, it's always a privilege to look at what you've done, what you achieved.
The same island, the two of them.
So, yeah, to me, canoe is one of the what do you call it? Native transport back in the old days.
Kia ora, Korangi mō te ata maunga o aka ora te marae. Ngā te ata, ngā te kareroa, Robbie ata toa te iau tūne. At the moment, Papa want us to prepare the ama for the mangai waka. The challenge is to make it look the same. Because the mangai waka is quite a big and fat one, so Papa recommend that we should have two. This has to be the right one, the right length, and to make sure the waka have balance. So our metua vaine, I guess for now we're going to call it mangaia. We always refer our island as our mother. So yeah, I guess this is a collective effort since the project started. For me, it is a journey, and the design have to relate specifically to Mangaian stories and knowledge.
I appreciate the process because this is, from my understanding, a very revitalizing process in the way that you're doing. Perfect. Getting that green coconut that's been bred for long fibers, specifically for, rope making from somebody, being able to then pound it out, bury it, let it ferment, let it preserve, be able to make those fibers stronger, get rid of the pulp a little bit, digging it up, either pounding it out or washing it out, grabbing the fibers and then putting it into the right, width to be able to hold everything that it needs to. So yes, absolute technology, absolute engineering, but completely indigenous in the way that it's being done and something that's always been done. And I think that's something I like to celebrate about our Pacific people or the people, what is it, Apeli Ha'ofa's Sea of Islands, right? So that's us. We're the Sea of Islands, and all of us have been able to figure out how to use our natural materials in the best way to be able to provide for ourselves, for our land, for the future, for our akua, for every way in which we were able to do. That's the technology.
We were delighted as a university to be involved in a project that was about revitalization of Cook Islands indigenous knowledge across a wide range of spaces. The project was really designed around the impacts of climate change, and the rejuvenation of indigenous skills and knowledge from taonga to apprentices. Because what we realise is that as our taonga are ageing, that we're losing that knowledge rapidly. And so it was really important that we could utilise the skills of those around us to think about, if there was no more fuel, for example, and we had to go back to transportation of days old, what would that look like? And so what we know is there's only a few people left who have the knowledge to design, build, weave, carve, make the ka'a and the senate, all the skills that are needed in terms of our traditional navigation and our traditional transport. For us, we just saw it as a fantastic opportunity to garner the knowledge, to learn for kids, adults, right across the community. I loved that about this project. There's so many people across so many communities were involved. And also taking the designs from multiple islands in the Pāinua. So we didn't just have one type of waka, we had, lots of different designs, and that diversity for different types of sailing in those vakas. So, you know, it was about the importance of learning from those who've still got that knowledge, passing it on to some apprentices so that we don't lose it.
It reminds me of a story that we have on Achu, and it's about one of our vaka, Te Kutukuroa Matangi, and that vaka was Marire's vaka, yeah, and to build that vaka they talk about 7 tribes. So it was actually 7 tribes of people that got the canoe ready to voyage. So there were the rope makers, the guys that just, the actual whole families that just made the ropes. There were the carvers, the ones that did all the carving. There were the weavers, the ones that made the sails. There were the food people who planted food and grew food, and they kept going. There were the sailors, of course, so the ones who all knew how to sail. And these skills were mixed around, but and then there was the navigators. So they were the ones who knew where they were going, how they were going, what they were going to do. And actually it took 7 tribes, and then there were the old people. And the old people were the ones that really held all of that knowledge, our traditional knowledge holders. So there were 7 lots of people, 7 whole families, whole groups that actually came together to build a vaka, to sail a vaka, and to move on. So it's not an individual thing, and it's not something that can really be done by one person. It has to be done by a whole tribe. Yeah.
We've actually just designed a new qualification. It's only just been approved at council. It's a certificate in Cook Islands Studies. And I actually incorporated an assessment task into the science paper using those vaka from this project. So the integration of a project like this now into a first in the world qualification of Cook Islands Studies, that's not been offered anywhere else in the world. I'm really excited about.
I'm very excited about the whole project. I'm happy it's finished. But for me, the achievement we had was that we had at least over 250 people from New Zealand who came here for a few hours, for a day, for a week, for a few weeks, and for a few months. And we have about approximately the same amount who participated in the project. So I am happy for that, because those who were connected with the project went away with a little bit of awareness, if not anything else, of what is a vaka and its importance in our Polynesian society.